One advantage to living in Southwest Florida is our proximity to so many wonderful things to do nearby. This year, we decided to spend a couple of weeks visiting the Florida Keys. Come join us on our fun-filled, action-packed road trip. This is our itinerary. 1 week didn't seem long enough, and 3 weeks seems a little too long. So we decided that 2 weeks would be perfect. Of course, since driving from Fort Myers to Miami meant traveling to Florida's East Coast, and we couldn't pass up a chance for some good Cuban food, we began our adventure with a little detour and stayed 2 nights in North Miami Beach. Time to head for the Keys. From Miami, we drove to the Upper Keys and stopped in Islamorada, the village of islands, for a 4-night stay. Then off to the Middle Keys and Marathon, where we spent another 4 nights. It was time to start heading back home, so we headed back north and stopped in Key Largo for 2 nights. Then, just to make for a gentle glide approach home, spent a night in Naples before driving to Fort Myers. We're at the DoubleTree in North Miami Beach. Decided to come here because it's a little more sane. The beach is beautiful. And so far, we're liking it. What are we doing today?
Miami Beach. We just had coffee with Einstein Brothers. And we're walking this for a little while, and then we'll get ready to go to, where are we going?
Little Havana.
Little Havana.
For us, our stay in Miami was all about the beach and great Cuban food. We truly enjoyed the Little Havana food tour from Miami Culinary Tours. Our tour guide was very professional. Well, he was excellent. Having grown up there, he was very knowledgeable of the culture and history. Our tour began the way Little Havana residents begin their day, with a nice little cup of cortadito, which is a tiny cup of very strong coffee with lots of sugar at La Ventanita. It was very small and delicious, but carried a big kick. Next, we ate chicken empanadas at El Pub restaurant, which were delicious. Our next stop was the Yissel Bakery, where we were treated to flavorful and flaky guava pastry. Now, with breakfast complete, we learned some history of the iconic section of Miami, from Domino Park to the Bay of Pigs Invasion Monument. We learned a lot about Little Havana's founding and those who first inhabited this place. Time for lunch, so we headed for Old Havana Restaurant, where we enjoyed delicious Cuban sandwiches. As our food digested, we strolled by the shops and stopped in Los Pineros Fruteria and sampled some fresh guava. Then we visited a cigar factory to see cigars being rolled. But it was Sunday and the workers had the day off, so we didn't have the opportunity to watch them at work. Time for some fun. We walked to the Ball and Chain, Little Havana's famous club, where many stars of the day entertained the patrons. We sipped on mojitos while listening to the jazz band play fabulous music. Our wonderful tour was almost at an end, but not before having some original Abuela Maria ice cream at Zúcar Ice Cream Company. This was a wonderful tour, well worth the $50 per person price. Even though we did the 11 a.m. tour, we ate so much food that we weren't even hungry by dinner time. We highly recommend this tour. It's island time. It only took us a couple of hours to drive from Miami to Islamorada. Once we arrived, we stopped at Windley Key Fossil Reef Geological State Park, located at mile marker 85.5 near Islamorada. It was a former quarry used by Henry Flagler in the early 1900s to help build his overseas railroad. The 1/8 to 1/5 mile trails were tropical and beautiful. It took us an hour to leisurely hike all the trails. This was the perfect way to stretch our legs after the drive. When we finished our hike, it was time to check into the hotel. We chose to stay at the Chica Lodge for 4 nights. It was an excellent choice. We selected a 1-bedroom suite on the lagoon. It was so beautiful and relaxing. When darkness arrived, the tiki torches were lit, and the place became a magical paradise.
You got it.
Chica Lodge was great for us because they offer water sports, including kayaking, snorkeling, stand-up paddle boards, hobie cats, and paddle bikes. They also have bike and hiking trails around the resort. The beachside restaurant at the hotel is excellent. It is a wonderful place to stay. We also ventured out from our resort to enjoy some of the great things to do that Islamorada offers. We visited the Theater of the Sea in 2009, and since it was only a few miles away from our hotel and Hurricane Irma had caused a lot of damage in the Keys, we decided to head over and see if a lot had changed. Things were much the same, but somehow better. It was wonderful, and we really enjoyed seeing all the animals and watching the shows. Sea lions, parrots, crocodiles, birds, fish, iguanas, and especially the dolphins. This is a great way to spend a day for young and old.
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes! Baby, get up there. Oh,
Islamorada has some wonderful restaurants. Twisted Shrimp was our absolute favorite for the entire road trip. It is a no-frills restaurant, but don't be fooled. The food is outstanding and the price is very reasonable. We had the shrimp basket and highly recommend this dish for shrimp lovers. We also enjoyed the food and scenery at Islamorada Bay restaurant. We went right as they were opening, so there weren't many people there yet, and the live entertainment is in the evening. Even so, we loved the whole fried snapper. Then we enjoyed walking on the beach, admiring the view. The best part of lunch at Lazy Days was watching the tarpon. You can buy fish food to feed them, but don't be surprised if you feed more sharks, pelicans, and seagulls.
I'll just observe. I'm happy with that.
Look at, there's more shark than there are the tarpons. Can't eat it. I don't like it.
Leaving Chica Lodge was bittersweet. As much as we loved this resort, we were excited to head to the Middle Keys and to Marathon for the next 4 nights. On our way, we stopped for lunch at the Sunset Grill and Raw Bar. This used to be the place for after-bike ride over the 7-mile bridge. Unfortunately, the bridge is closed for major repairs, so riding was not possible. But we did enjoy our lunch break. Before heading to our hotel, we went a little further south to the Bahia State Park. We rode our bikes around the park, walked on the portion of the bridge that remains from the old Bahia Bridge, and watched beachgoers basking in the sun. It was a pleasant way to spend the day. We arrived at our hotel right at check-in time. We stayed at the Courtyard Marathon Keys. The view from our hotel was bayside, but right over the parking lot, so it was clean and the room and the balcony were spacious and comfortable, so that made up for the okay view. It was centrally located, so we didn't have to drive far to the venues that we visited. This hotel served us well. I had a birthday wish to see some dolphins, so we spent the day at the Dolphin Research Center. Although they offer dolphin encounter packages, we decided to just observe. It's a beautiful facility. The dolphin trainers are excellent, and the dolphins are well loved. For lunch, we chose the Keys Fishery and Market. This is certainly not a luxurious place, but the whole fried snapper was excellent. While in Marathon, we also visited Crane Point Museum and Nature Center. What a lovely way to spend a day. The hiking trails are wonderful. Some are a bit rustic, and be advised to watch for rocks, roots, and limbs. It felt like going back in time. There are historic buildings along the way, and at the end, you will find a beautiful view of the bay. There are some great places to ride along the Overseas Highway. We found the Grassy Key Trail to be great. We rode around 10 easy miles. We even stopped at a small beach and enjoyed the view.
Having fun?
I'm having a ball!
Oh, there she goes.
For lunch, we went to the Castaway Restaurant and Sushi Bar. The food was delicious. Of course, we had the whole fried snapper. We left Marathon Key early in the morning to be sure to make it to Key Largo on time for our tour. The tour turned out to be one of the most memorable experiences of our Keys road trip. We took a canal cruise aboard the African Queen. No kidding, we got to ride on the actual boat from the movie starring Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn. I actually got to drive. Is that cool or what? Time to check into our hotel, the Hampton by Hilton Key Largo. We chose the one king bed Bayview room and were pleasantly surprised by the awesome view. Our room number is 151. It was on the first floor and overlooked the beach. If you get a chance to stay at this hotel, try to get this room. It is wonderful. The hotel also has kayaks for rent, and we spent hours enjoying kayaking around the bay. We're in paradise! While aboard the African Queen, our captain recommended the glass-bottom boat that also sails from the marina next to the Holiday Inn. So that evening we returned for the sunset cruise aboard the Key Largo Princess Glass Bottom boat. It was a lot of fun watching the fish, and the sunset was amazing. After 13 fabulous days, our road trip was coming to an end. As I mentioned before, we decided to stop in Naples for a night before we headed on home. We spent the day at the Naples Botanical Gardens. It is very beautiful. It's been 14 glorious days traveling through South Florida, but it's time to go home sweet home. Thank you for joining us on our journey.